Alright guys, well, as promised, I've got a new project here in the driveway. One of my neighbors saw my horde of BMWs and kindly asked me to work on his to get it up and running. This is his 1989 325i convertible that he picked up not too long ago. It needs some things, but we'll just do a quick walk around. In this video, I'll talk about what it needs and what we're doing. So it's obviously got some different wheels on it that he's looking to change out. I might actually take them for my white 85. I don't think I'll put the spacers on them, and I'd like to get some tires that actually fit the width of the wheels. The front's not too bad, but the rear's kind of got that stretch stance boy look that I'm just really not into. I like more of a OEM Plus type look, but and of course, they're not real BBS wheels, they're knockoffs. If I do take them, I'll probably change that center emblem just to a BMW and not the BBS. I don't need to pose for anybody. It's got a respray that's pretty decent. I don't really see many imperfections anywhere. Certainly not a $20,000 paint job, but not a $1,000 paint job either. It's got a really cool body kit, some nice aftermarket taillights. I actually like to kind of find what those are for the white car, since those are both broken, and the parts car that I have, they're not in much better shape. You see down this side, it's in real nice shape as well. Top is nearly perfect, a little hazing on the back window that probably could get polished out. I'm leaving the top up. I don't like messing with stuff like that that's not mine. Getting it up and down, up and down, up and down. Just adds for some problems, especially on an older car. I do really like the orange center lights, and looks like they got some aftermarket headlights too as well, so those are pretty cool. I kind of like those as well. Aftermarket front bumper along with a body kit. I need to figure out what lights are missing. I'm guessing the standard amber lights up front, and then probably some fog lights are supposed to go down lower. I'll have to investigate, kind of see what bumper this is, and then we're gonna probably ditch this carbon fiber crap that's behind the bumper cover. I get what I say there, just so it doesn't rub and whatnot, but it doesn't look very good, and the owner doesn't like it either, so we'll probably ditch that. Glass is in real good shape. The interior is near perfect. I mean, I've yet to really find a flaw. The door cards look fantastic. I love the peanut butter against the black. I really don't like black abyss interiors. This just shows really nice. Seats are super comfortable. I believe these are the sport seats. Obviously needs a vacuum and whatnot, but other than that, it's in great shape. Dash is pretty much perfect. I don't see any cracks in there. The gauges all work. AC needs a recharge. We'll get into that here in just a second. So I've already done my walk around up top and below on the car, so I know the first round of stuff that we're gonna have to tack. So the initial concern that he came here with was a coolant leak, and his mechanic told him it was probably a water pump. I don't know if he actually looked at the car or just kind of assumed it needs the water pump. I got it here. I first noticed this reservoir. It's got a lot of rusty residue, like it boiled over. It's not a great sign, but I kind of asked him about it, and he said it hasn't overheated that he's aware of, so it could just gotten overfilled and then bubbled out as the engine got hot. I filled it up with water and pretty immediately noticed water dripping down pretty much under the firewall area, and you're not going to really be able to see it here. Obviously you can see the heater core is bypassed, but under here there's a secondary thermostat. You can barely just see it peeking right there. That was gushing out water, so I ordered a new thermostat for that. I ran some water through the heater core, and of course that's leaking out on the floor, so that's why the heater core was bypassed. So we ordered the heater core, we ordered a thermostat, we ordered I think all of these hoses here, just in case there's a hose split too, and also I think it's missing a hose based on some diagrams. When they bypassed it, they just kind of looped around, bypassed the heater core. The owner does want to have heat. This is Atlanta, but we got some cool mornings, so having heat would be kind of nice. Or if he drives it into the fall, early spring, he can, pretty much drive it reliably, have heat. From there, we'll recharge the AC system. Does look like it was already converted to R134A, so that'll make it kind of easy. I do have gauges to hook up to the ports. Actually, I don't know, that is adapted. So I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but there's a lot of pinkish overspray all over the engine bay. And it's kind of a bummer that they did that when they painted it. I mean, it wouldn't have been hard to tape this off and keep the engine bay looking nice, but it is what it is. He can always go through and clean that up if he wants. So from my walk around on this, the underside has got a pretty good oil coating, nothing gushing out. I mean, I don't see anything dripping on my driveway at all, but definitely the valve cover gasket is leaking. So I told him, let's start there, replace the valve cover gasket, degrease the engine, see if there's anything else that's leaking, but it seems to be mostly this side. So I'm thinking that's probably all it is. These wires look newer, so I didn't recommend those. They are Bremies. He kind of wants me to just go through this and make it safe and reliable for him, that he can just get in it and drive it whenever he wants. So I've ordered new plugs because I don't know how old those are. Like I said, the wires look good. We ordered OEM cap and rotor. As long as we're doing cooling system stuff, ordered all new rad hoses, water pump, thermostat, so we'll do those as well. Since there's rusty water coming out, I'm going to run a coolant flush through there and try to get as much of that out, just so it's running clear. A lot of people down here in the south, they like to run just water, and while generally that's not a problem, it can freeze. In case in point, the turbo turd that I worked on, pulled the motor from, it cracked the head because the guy was just running water. So we're gonna put BMW coolant back in this. That's on order. Of course, we'll do an oil change, transmission service, and diff flush. This is obviously the 5-speed manual, so that'd be pretty simple to flush out the trans. Let's see what else we got under here. I think that's about it for tune-up stuff. All the hoses, the vacuum hoses and whatnot, crankcase hoses look pretty good. So I'm not too worried about that, but I will do a smoke test on it just to make sure. Did start noticing that there's a power steering whine, so I'm gonna recommend a power steering flush to start and see if the noise goes away. It was a little bit low, but ultimately it's probably just gonna need a pump, and we'll replace this reservoir as well. There is a filter in there that if people don't change, it will get kind of plugged up and it could burn the pump up. So we wanna change on that as well. But everything else under here looks pretty good. Like I said, I did get it up in the air. He wants to go with some coilovers on this, so I didn't worry about struts or springs. I looked for broken springs, didn't see any. The struts don't look to be leaking. The shocks in the back don't look to be leaking. But I'll show you when we get to do it, but front and rear rotors, the pads are almost totally gone. Huge lips on the rotors, so we ordered four-wheel discs and pads all the way around. Shook down the front suspension, and both front lower ball joints are extremely loose. So I told him the best way to do that is just to replace the control arms. We're going to put in some poly control arm bushings. This is about the same price for the poly as the OEM rubber. It'll give them a little sportier feel. Might get a little bit more road vibration and whatnot, but I think it'd be a good trade-off, make it feel and handle pretty nice. But other than that, there's really not much that needs to be done. I mean, it seems like a lot, pads, rotors, tune-up, cooling system, heater core, but it shouldn't be too bad. It'd be a couple days worth of work, and we'll get this thing sorted, and he can get it back out and enjoy it, take some car shows, take the kids out, and then once this is done, he's got another car that I haven't revealed yet either that he wants me to work on something even more special than this, something that's on my bucket list. And I'll give you a little hint, it's got twice as many cylinders as this car, so that'll be a cool project. So I gotta get into that. Thing needs a lot of work, a lot of mechanical work. He spent a lot of money getting the interior on that car sorted. It does need paint work, but the mechanicals, I mean, it runs like garbage. The steering is extremely loose. I really do not like driving around the block. So we'll have to kind of go through that. I warned him that on that car, parts are hard to find. He took it to a shop here locally, and they just kind of threw a bunch of parts at it, and it's better, but it's not great. So we'll need to dive into that car once this one's done and out of here. Hopefully by the weekend we can get this one done. It's currently Wednesday. I'm hoping by the end of the weekend. The only issue is UPS guy came yesterday, dropped off a bunch of parts for this, and unfortunately there's several pieces missing. I contacted FCP Euro, and they opened the case. They're going to ship out the replacement parts. I'm not frowning on FCP at all. I've ordered thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from FCP Euro. Never had more than one or two issues, this being probably the second issue in the entire time. They always are on top of things and take care of it. So I'm pretty confident that I'll get the parts that we need to get this thing done and out of here this weekend. And I'll bring you guys along for the ride. So we'll probably, so the real issue with this missing parts is that I'm missing things for every major thing. I've got all 4 rotors, but only rear pads, so I don't have the front pads. So I can't finish the front brakes. I do have both control arms, both lollipop bushings. I can get that done. I have the plugs, the cap, but no rotor. And I'm missing, I do have the water pump, missing the thermostat, a couple other hoses for and of course the BMW coolant didn't come either. I had one box that came in that was a little banged up. I mean, not severely, but you know, not their typical presentation when they deliver packages. But even that package didn't have enough room to have all those missing items in it. So I think it just got mispacked. You know, honest mistake. I'm sure FCP will take care of me and get me the parts I need so we can get this thing back together and on the road and running. So it does run pretty good. I can start it up for you. It's pretty much a cold start. All I did was just move it out of the way. We have to play some driveway Jenga in order to fit all the cars here in the driveway. So she starts up, idle's pretty good. The battery in this is probably needing to be changed. It's got a 2018 date code. I can let it sit for a few days, but then it kind of dies out, needs a battery charge again. So the battery's probably on its way out. Just looking at mileage, looks like 211,947. So it's got some miles on it, and I believe that to be accurate. If I zoom you in here, 211,947. The triple meter is not all zeros. So if you know these older cars, when someone resets that trip while they're driving, it breaks the gears in the cluster, and the odometer stops working. So both of my E30s both have broken clusters. They'll need a rebuild. There are kits out there and some good vids on how to do that. I'll try to show that as well when I get to it in those cars, but this one seems to be working just fine. So either someone has already repaired it or someone new and did not slam that reset button while they were driving. So other than that, this car is like I said, it's just really sweet. Headliner in here is real good shape, and I guess it's just really the underside of the convertible top, but we got a little bit of loose trim up here. We'll see if we can maybe used car glue that up there for him, get it a little secured. He's not too worried about everything being, you know, factory refreshed. He just wants good running, reliable. He wants it to look good, obviously, but he's not opposed to making things work if needed. I was really happy. I gave him the option to get parts locally from a parts store, which I really don't like doing. I like to get OEM parts. And he was supportive of that. I told him FCP Euro is fantastic, lifetime warranty, all OEM parts, great fitment, good quality. Downside is you have to order them, you gotta wait for the parts, but I won't have to do it a second time, and he won't have to pay to get it done a second time if something fails, and that would be kind of the case I found with going with auto parts store stuff. It might last a little while, but it's gonna fail. They just don't have the quality of the OEM stuff. Some makes and models you can get away with that, but BMWs really seem to hate aftermarket parts. So we're gonna stay OEM plus on this build, and get it back to them hopefully here hopefully less than a week or so. Like I said, the driveway is getting a little crowded. You know, I got my Tundra, the workhorse, my 330Ci, the autocross car. I had a fantastic weekend last week. We had a rain out on Saturday. We had a special event they were hosting, and it rained almost the entire day. And the car did pretty good considering there was a lot of ponding. So it made driving difficult, but really made you focus on learning what the car can and can't do. And it is absolutely filthy. I'm sure it doesn't show up as dirty as it is in person, but it's filthy. So, and the inside too, if you can see all the fingerprint marks from my son and his friend that went along for the ride. They just kind of hung out in the car when I wasn't racing, and it just gets the car dirty because kids are gross. This, I hope, is out of here shortly. I have the engine and transmission pulled, which I had in a different video. You can go ahead and watch that if you'd like. This is sold, hopefully picking up on Sunday. Like I said, currently today is Wednesday. Hopefully be gone by the weekend. I'm gonna finish stripping a couple little bits out of this. I had somebody that wanted the shell, and they're not responding now, so I don't know. We'll continue to pick apart what we can. I'm pulling these seats front and rear for the white car. Already pulled all the door panels, and got some inquiries about some of the bits and bobs in and around the car. But hopefully I can keep this a roller and then just get this out of here. I'd hate to take it for scrap, but if I don't get any bites, I guess that's what I got to do. I can't have it sit here forever, so I posted up for, I don't know, 600 bucks for the rolling shell. For a clean E30 shell, I think that's pretty reasonable. You know, there's no drivetrain, but the shell is as solid as could be, so I think that's a decent price. You can tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. You know, I certainly think it's worth more than the 100 bucks I'm gonna get out of scrap value. But if I don't get any bites at like 600 bucks on it, I'll drop it, I don't know, 300, 400 bucks just to get out of here. And again, just so someone can use it, so it doesn't get wasted away. And then of course in the garage, we got the white car that is my 85 318i, and is now again a storage shelf. We got a lot of stuff from FCP Euro, so all the packages on the floor, the boxes over there, but we'll go through all the parts that we've got, and we're going to put on the 325i in the next video when I get all the parts and start working on this thing. So about the only thing I can really start on is those lower control arms. I could do the back brakes. I might, on the cooling system, I might replace that leaky valve, and then run that flush. Obviously we don't care if we flush out the heater core because that's getting replaced. So I could put that valve in, cycle it with the flush, make sure everything is nice and clean, and at least then it's got coolant in it, or well, I'll have water for now because I'm not going to put coolant in and drain it back out again. So we'll fill it with water, make sure that you know, it's holding pressure fine, there's no issues. I did ask on some of the forums, if these had any issues with head gaskets when they get hot, and I was told that pretty much they don't really see that at all in these, that these M20s are pretty darn reliable. They've even been a couple cases that people have busted the oil pans wide open and they still drove home. So I'm hoping that's the case. It runs and idles fine. The oil's not milky and gross, so I don't think it's popped a head gasket. I was just a little worried about that overflow bottle that is all stained from it spilling out, but we'll probably replace that thermostat, run the flush, make sure everything's kosher, and go from there. So I think that's gonna do this video here. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope you like, share, subscribe so you can see the continuation of this build, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.